The young master, Ethan, had lost his memory, clinging to me with saccharine sweetness. "Honey, kiss me," he murmured. I froze in shock. We'd been sworn rivals. His smoldering gaze locked onto mine as he captured my lips in a searing kiss that left me flushed and breathless. Too stunned to slap him, I reluctantly pitted his amnesiac state. I retreated to fetch water with swollen lips, only to overhear his phone call upon returning. "You're sure playing amnesiac puppy works? Last time your cold CEO act made her avoid me. Almost lost my future wife." His wingman chuckled through the speaker. "Trust me, bro. Hired a professional matchmaker. Wedding bells incoming." Me? Chapter 1. Alice and Ethan represented twin pillars of East Coast aristocracy. Our family's feud originated not from business but romantic rivalry, my mother being the unrequited first love of Ethan's father. The Carters had inexplicably built their mansion directly across from ours. My father's daily warning since childhood painted them as villains. Those Carters? Pure poison. He'd paused dramatically. Evil incarnate. Naturally, this colored my perception of Ethan. Initially neutral, his constant provocations cemented my dislike. During our school years, the Carter heir ruled as campus royalty, wealthy, devastatingly handsome, trailed by sycophants. Every potential romance of mine met his sabotage. He'd corner my crushes for chats, scattering my suitors like startled birds. My tearful accusation finally halted his games. "Is this revenge because your father lost to mine? Making me lonely too?" The laughter died in his throat. Those striking eyes flickered with uncharacteristic panic before he vanished from my life, transferring schools, moving off campus. 3 years later at a charity gala, I gaped at the transformed man holding court. The cocky teenager had morphed into a razor-sharp executive, his tailored suit accentuating athletic build as he navigated corporate sharks with easy charm. Broad shoulders tapered to lean hips, every inch the modern Adonis holding court. His every movement exuded raw sexual magnetism. Women nearby gazed at him with infatuation. I sighed softly. If I hadn't grown up with him and known his true nature, I might have fallen for him too. Undeniably, Ethan possessed undeniable charm now. His peripheral vision seemed to catch me, lips curling into an imperceptible smirk. Those hazel eyes locked onto mine. I immediately looked away. Speak of the devil. Every encounter with Ethan in my memory brought trouble, so I naturally kept my distance. I retreated to a corner, putting maximum space between us while planning my early exit. "Long time no see." That achingly familiar voice came from behind. Of course this would happen. I turned with forced cheer. "Only 3 years. I'm made to leave." He closed the distance, fingers circling my wrist. "Still cold to your childhood friend? That hurts." His thumb brushed my pulse point. The crowd watched intently. Everyone knew our families, the Johnsons and Carters, had always been at odds. They expected fireworks. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Meeting Ethan's gaze, I smiled sweetly. "What mischief are you plotting now?" Before I could react, he yanked me forward. His cedarwood cologne overwhelmed my senses as our bodies collided. "Let me go," I hissed, squirming. His arm banded around my waist. "Did you know I've been single these 3 years?" The whisper ghosted over my ear. The entire room stared. What fresh insanity was this? Shoving him away, I stumbled and fell. Ethan immediately draped his suit jacket over my legs and scooped me up, carrying me to the balcony lounge. Kneeling before me, he cradled my ankle. His fingers traced the emerging bruise. "Does it hurt?" The genuine concern in his eyes confused me. Typical Ethan chaos. My phone rang with my customized ringtone. "I'll call you when I get home," I cooed, hanging up to find Ethan's expression stormy. "Who was that?" "My online boyfriend. We're planning to meet up in person soon." The words slipped out, Ethan's grip tightened on my calf as his smile turned dangerous. Interesting. I stood up to leave but heard Ethan mutter through gritted teeth. I tried so hard to prevent this. Yet you still managed to get into online dating. His voice was too low for me to catch. I turned back and asked, "What did you say? Were you cursing me?" He shook his head, forcing an obviously fake smile. Nothing. Ugh. He definitely wasn't saying anything nice. I still needed to go home for my scheduled call with my online date, so I didn't bother arguing further. The moment I left, he immediately called his buddy. To his credit, the friend actually came up with a plan. When the day of the meetup arrived, I put on a dress and white high heels that accentuated my fair calves. After carefully styling myself, I headed out. On my way to the meetup spot, I suddenly received a call from Ethan's buddy. "Alice. It's bad. Ethan was in a car accident and is in emergency surgery at the hospital. You need to go check on him." I jolted in shock before frowning. Wait. Why are you calling me about his accident? Shouldn't you contact his parents? His friend sounded frantic. His parents are overseas on business, their phones are off. I can't reach anyone and I'm out of town. Please just go. Convinced by this explanation, I abandoned my meetup plans and rushed to hail a cab to the hospital. Entering the hospital room, I found Ethan swathed in bandages everywhere except his face like some avant-garde mummy. I couldn't help thinking the driver had impressive precision to leave his face completely untouched. I approached his bedside. "Are you okay?" He blinked before suddenly pulling me into a tight hug. "You came, honey?" My eyes widened in shock. What did he just call me? As I stood frozen in confusion, a doctor entered. He explained that Ethan had amnesia and now believed I was his wife, advising me not to agitate him. The barrage of information left me completely dazed. Gently pushing Ethan away, I studied him closely. He transformed into an abnormally docile version of himself like an obedient child. His usually styled hair lay soft against his forehead, lips rosy against pale skin as he gazed at me with watery eyes. The absence of his usual annoying demeanor made him unexpectedly endearing. He extended his arms. "Honey." "Hug?" After a moment's hesitation, remembering the doctor's warning, I sighed and sat on the edge of the bed to embrace him. No sooner had I released him than he demanded kisses. Before I could react, warm lips were already pressing against mine. The kiss left me tingling head to toe. As my stiff body gradually relaxed, his large hand cradled the back of my neck, slowly lowering me onto the bed. Leaning close, he breathed against my ear. "Honey, could you kiss me first this time?" His eyes were red-rimmed and pitiful, actual tears gathering at the corners. "I need my honey to kiss me first." My heart softened despite myself. Throughout our childhood, Ethan had constantly antagonized me. Yet whenever I was bullied, he'd always been first to intervene. In middle school, when some thugs harassed me, Ethan had fixed them with that terrifying glare of his as a warning. The bullies wisely backed off, and I assumed that was the end of it. But later that afternoon, passing an alleyway after school, I witnessed Ethan hurl his backpack to the ground before lunging at those same guys in a frenzied attack. Worried about him, I deliberately slowed my pace walking home. When he finally returned, his lip was swollen purple, a bandage plastered across his cheekbone. I clutched the hem of my uniform jacket, mustering the courage to murmur, "Thanks." Ethan's cheeks flushed crimson as he averted his gaze, brushing past me with forced nonchalance. "What's there to thank? Those punks had beef with me anyway. Wasn't about you." Even a fool could see through that lie. My heart softened despite myself. "Fine." I sighed. "I'll give you one kiss. Just one." His eager nod made him look like an overgrown golden retriever puppy. The moment our lips touched, his arms banded around my waist like steel traps. What began as chaste contact exploded into something desperate and hungry. his teeth grazing my lower lip as my fingers twisted helplessly in the hospital bedsheets. Ethan! I shoved against his chest when we finally broke apart. Gasping for air. One kiss. I said. Since when did you turn into a damn octopus? His smoldering gaze held mine with startling intensity, the kind of look usually reserved for wartime reunions or cheesy romance novel covers. Before I could process it, his palm cradled my nape as he reclaimed my mouth with terrifying tenderness, melting my resistance into breathless compliance. When we finally separated, our foreheads pressed together. I could hear my own heartbeat thundering like parade drums. A traitorous thought surfaced, maybe if our families weren't sworn rivals, maybe if he'd stopped being such an infuriating jerk. His thumb brushed my kiss-swollen lips. Alice, the raw vulnerability in his voice shattered me. I bolted upright, babbling about fetching hot water like some Victorian heroine avoiding scandal. The crisp autumn air did nothing to cool my burning face. By the time I returned with the water pitcher, I caught Ethan's animated voice through the door. Peering through the glass, I saw him perched on the hospital bed, phone wedged between his shoulder and ear while gesturing wildly. Are you absolutely sure playing the amnesiac puppy dog would work? His stage whisper carried clearly. Last time you made me try that cold CEO act at the charity gala. She tripped over her own feet running away. Nearly lost my future wife thanks to your genius plans. Ice flooded my veins. So the mysterious amnesia was just another scheme? The recent gala incident flashed through my mind, Ethan suddenly appearing like some brooding romance novel cover model, sweeping me into an awkward embrace that sent us both tumbling. All an act. His conspiratorial chuckle snapped me back to reality. Swear on your life this fortune teller's legit. If this works, I'm buying you a Caribbean cruise. If not... The pitcher hit the floor with a metallic clang. Ethan whirled around, iPhone clattering to the linoleum as our eyes locked. Babe. Let me expla. Don't you babe me. Ethan. I wrenched free from his grasping hands, voice shaking with fury. First fake amnesia. Now fortune tellers? What's next, hiring a flash mob for a marriage proposal? Tears of humiliation pricked my eyes. Was any of this real? Or just some twisted game to you? He flinched as though I'd slapped him. For the first time since kindergarten, Ethan looked genuinely speechless. Ever since we were kids. What have you done besides bully me? What did I ever do to deserve this? Ethan panicked, moving closer to carefully grasp my sleeve. I'm sorry. When I found out you were going to meet that online crush, I lost my mind. Jake talked me into this stupid plan. I never should have listened. He suddenly turned defensive. This is all his fault. Neither realized the call was still connected. Jake's furious voice erupted from the phone. Ethan. You ungrateful bastard. I spent good money hiring that psychic for you. And now you're throwing me under the bus? I'm still trying to date Emma. If Alice complains to her, I'm screwed. Jake, Ethan's childhood friend and resident playboy, was every bit as terrible as him. I couldn't fathom why my sharp-witted best friend Emma would ever date that smooth-talking womanizer. I angrily shook off Ethan's grip and stormed out without another word. Halfway down the street, I realized I'd left my purse in his hospital room. Hailing a cab, I returned to find Jake still there. Not wanting to face him, I lingered outside the door. Just as I turned to leave, I heard Jake ask, "Is she really worth it? You've loved Alice for years, but she doesn't even notice you." My anger from Ethan's deception had clouded my judgment earlier. What did Jake mean, Ethan having feelings for me? All he'd ever done was pull my pigtails like some grade school bully. Our relationship was pure rivalry, wasn't it? Ethan's voice dropped gravely. Funny, isn't it? Everyone calls me the golden boy, but around her I turn into a bumbling idiot. Every time I try to be decent, I end up making her furious. Remember in high school? I nearly confessed a dozen times. But she already thought I was insufferable. What if she thought I was mocking her? Then that guy she liked, I got jealous and made her cry. When she told me to disappear, I transferred schools. Couldn't bear her hating me. He exhaled shakily. For years, I'd camp outside her campus just to glimpse her between classes. Pathetic, right? And today, I'm messed up again. I don't know how to love her without driving her away. If I get close, she recoils. If I stay distant. Jake lit a cigarette against the wall, sneering. Plenty of fish in the sea. Man. Obsessing over one girl? That's loser behavior. Unrequited love's for suckers. Ethan chuckled. When my dad was young, he loved Alice's mom. Lost her to Mr. Johnson. I asked him once, does it eat at him? He said time heals. That he's happy with mom. But he wishes he'd tried harder back then. Life rarely gives you soulmates. When you find one, you fight. No regrets. Ethan gazed out the window. I was born in Georgia. Never been up north. Loving her, it's like yearning for autumn leaves in New England. The leaves don't care. Neither does she. If I fail, I'll wish her happiness. At least then I could let go. Jake stubbed out his cigarette violently. You're the Carter heir. You could have any woman. Poor schmucks play the lovesick fool because they can't afford diamonds. What's your excuse? Because I have diamonds. Ethan said quietly. That's why I don't need to calculate. I just love. The playboy shook his head in disbelief. Seriously, what's so special about Alice? Our circle's full of models and heiresses. Ethan's smile was bittersweet. Love's not a spreadsheet. It's catching sunlight in her hair during sophomore biology. Someone ducks. I dove. Jake gave up, clapping his shoulder. Well, after this disaster, she'll never speak to you again. Let's get that bandage off and bail. I guess this time your buddy really gave you a terrible idea. My bad. I froze in the doorway as they opened the door and collided with me head-on. Knowing Ethan had feelings for me, and such intense ones at that, left my emotions tangled into knots. I didn't know what to say. Avoiding eye contact. My palms sweating. I pointed toward the table. I came to get my bag. Jake took one look at the situation and said, well, I've got things to handle. I'll head out first. Ethan, make sure you walk Alice out later. Ethan nervously clenched his hands, blinking those wide eyes. He stared at me blankly for a moment before springing into action. He grabbed my purse and handed it over with exaggerated care. His voice trembling. Can I walk you home? He asked like he was tiptoeing around a landmine. His hand shaking as he passed me the bag. I took it and nodded. His lips curled into a relieved smile. The ride back was painfully awkward. Now that I knew how he felt. The old rivalry between us had evaporated, leaving something fragile and unspoken in its place. After a long silence, Ethan's long fingers tightened around the steering wheel. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I shouldn't have lied. I'm not the type to hold grudges. But I didn't know how to process his confession. Turning to stare out the window, I murmured, I'm sorry too. I can't give you what you want right now. He laughed bitterly. It's fine. Under the streetlights, his eyes glistened with unshed tears as he focused on the road. For the next 4 years, Ethan never bothered me again. As the sole heir to the Carter family empire, he took over the business with ruthless efficiency, steering the company to a swift IPO. The industry buzzed about the young, cutthroat prodigy. Whenever I heard the praise, I'd smile and wonder, was this the same Ethan I knew? Then again, maybe he'd always been exceptional. Maybe he'd only ever let his guard down around me. I'd been just as busy taking over the Johnson family holdings. The whole online dating fiasco had died after Ethan's fake amnesia stunt. Strangely, though, every year on my birthday, a bouquet of roses and an unsigned card appeared at my doorstep. Year 1, my youth was ordinary until I loved you, then it burned. Year 2, I daydream constantly. Last night, you hugged me in 1. Year 3, dear princess. May your days be peaceful and your years kind. Year 4, thank you for existing in my world. That was enough. I kept each card in a lacquered box. Tonight's gala was rumored to include Ethan's attendance. In the ballroom, he lounged on a velvet sofa. Suit jacket open to reveal a casually unbuttoned collar. His sharp profile glowed under the chandeliers. All icy elegance and calculated poise. He looked the same, yet entirely different. The boyish spark in his eyes had hardened into something distant and unreadable. I wondered if this frosty version was how he always appeared to others. As I watched, a woman began weaving toward him with predatory grace, only to be yanked back by her companion. Are you insane? Don't approach Ethan. He's notorious for hating clingy women. He'll yank your family's investments without blinking. Last heiress who tried flirting with him got her entire portfolio axed. Stay put. Figures. The first woman sighed. Men at his level don't waste energy on romance. I smirked. The media really had him pegged as some untouchable tycoon. Alice. Someone called my name behind me. Ethan's shoulders stiffened at the sound. He instinctively turned toward the voice. The entire banquet hall noticed the moment Ethan's gaze landed on me. His usual composed aloofness shattered into visible panic. Through the crowd, I mouthed. Long time no see. I remembered our last encounter years ago when he'd uttered those words first. How the tables had turned. Ethan shot up so abruptly his long legs collided with the table. Nearly tripping, he stumbled toward me, fidgeting nervously before clenching his knuckles to steady himself. Long time no see, he managed, his voice tight. Every eye in the ballroom burned into us. Whispers rippling through crystal clinks. Let's talk outside? I suggested, gesturing toward the glass-enclosed terrace. Memories flashed of him carrying me to that very balcony couch during another gala, making me smile despite myself. We leaned against the transparent railings. Manhattan skyline glittering across the river. Fireworks suddenly erupted, painting the night in gold. Have you been well? Ethan asked softly, the lights reflecting in his anxious eyes. Don't pretend you don't know. I teased. For 4 years since taking over Johnson Family Enterprises, I'd spotted his solitary figure lingering near my penthouse. That tall silhouette watching my windows for hours. A blush crept up his neck. I just wanted to glimpse your shadow from afar. The birthday flowers, they were yours. Weren't they? The breeze deepened his flush as he stammered. I didn't sign the cards. How? Your handwriting's unmistakable. Another firework bloomed overhead. Ethan. I turned fully toward him. Let's date. You and me. The colors danced across his stunned face. When comprehension hit, his ears turned crimson. You mean, us? Together? He gripped my shoulders like I might vanish, then crushed me against him. His whisper trembled against my cheek. No take-backs. Promise. I wrapped my arms around his lean waist. Our heartbeats thundering in sync. No take-backs. These past years stabilizing Johnson Corp against skeptical board members. It was Ethan's quiet support that anchored me. His roses arrived not just on birthdays, but during my darkest hours when resilience withered, each bloom replanting hope. Pulling back, I cradled his face and brushed my lips against his. Be good from now on. Scout's honor, he vowed, eyes wide. I'll never upset you. Oh. I arched a brow. Rumor says some socialite threw herself at you last month. Ethan paled, raising 3 fingers. Swear to God. My assistant shoved her away before contact. I'm untouched. Laughing, I ruffled his hair. Relax. I'm teasing. His relieved exhale fogged the glass behind us. Why so smiley? I nudged. Because this His grin turned incandescent. You liking me back? I'd only dared dream of hugging you, never this. The final firework exploded above, gilding his wonderstruck face in stardust. I grinned and took Ethan's hand. Boyfriend. Should we walk home holding hands? The distance wasn't short. Yet somehow we arrived in what felt like moments. Time flew too fast. 1 second we were clinging to each other, reluctant to part. The next my father opened the door. I immediately pushed Ethan away in panic, hastily smoothing my hair. My father's face turned sour upon seeing Ethan. Why are you two returning together? He frowned. You're not involved with this Ethan boy, are you? Fearful of angering my father who loathed the Carter family, I stood with my back to him and blinked rapidly at Ethan, signaling him to play along. What terrible luck! I feigned irritation. First time walking home instead of taking the car. And I run into you of all people. Can't escape you anywhere. Linking arms with my father, I lifted my chin haughtily. We just happened to arrive at the same time. Right? Ethan hesitated, clearly wanting to reveal our relationship yet fearing my reaction. Right. He finally conceded. Better be. My father snorted. Once inside, he launched into his usual tirade. Those Carters are good-for-nothings. Not just bad. Worse than bad. I sighed. These same insults had echoed through my childhood. For someone who hated them so much, Dad never expanded his vocabulary beyond these tired phrases. Stay away from them. Understand? He ordered sternly. I nodded absently. Lying in bed that night, I tossed restlessly. This secrecy couldn't continue. The next day, I met my best friend Emma at a cafe. Before I could mention dating Ethan and ask advice about our family feud, she casually dropped her news. Jake and I are getting engaged next month. Save the date. I nearly choked on my coffee. Emma was the epitome of rational independence, not some love-struck fool. But Jake's a notorious playboy. Marriage isn't some game. Choose wrong and why pick him? She interrupted calmly. Because he's transparently selfish. We agree he'll play. I'll build my empire. No pretending. We're signing ironclad prenups. I won't touch his money, he won't touch mine. Seeing my confusion, she added, not everyone wants your fairy tale romance. Alice. Finding true love's like winning the lottery. You got lucky with Ethan. I got reality. My breath hitched. How did you? Emma tapped her phone. Check your socials. Ethan went berserk, spamming 10 consecutive social media posts to flaunt. The photos included a distant shot of me in school uniform with a ponytail from our student days. Since we had no couple photos, he photoshopped one himself. The caption read frowny face so happy. Feels like a dream. Friends in our circle commented frowny face dude. You're flooding the feed. He replied frowny face how'd you know we're together? Another comment frowny face that pics photoshopped. Right? He responded frowny face yes. We're together. I even spotted a bombshell comment frowny face holy shit. You're straight? Always avoiding women. I thought you were gay. Even more shocking. Mr. Carter actually liked the posts. Jake sent an eye roll emoji frowny face chill with the obsession. Bro. Me, I covered my face awkwardly, sorry about him. He's not right in the head. Emma smiled faintly, it's kinda cute though? Oh right. Emma said. Why did you want to meet today? After I shared my troubles. She arched an eyebrow, why not let Ethan handle it? Trust me. He'll manage perfectly. His problem-solving skills are top-notch. We've collaborated before, genuinely impressive. He's probably been holding back to respect your boundaries. If he's bold enough to publicly claim you, he's got solutions. As Emma finished speaking, Ethan texted frowny face, let's discuss your father. Can I handle this? I promise no pressure. I replied, puzzled frowny face, what's your plan? Instant response, frowny face, are you home? I'll visit your dad. Got this covered. I locked my phone and told Emma, gotta go. Family stuff. Before leaving, I asked, don't you regret marrying without love? Emma chuckled, regrets are normal. They're part of life. Better to face them head on than wallow. Don't worry about me. I'm tougher than I look. I respected her choice without further comment. Rushing home, I found Ethan and his father waiting at my doorstep with gift boxes. My stomach dropped imagining Dad's reaction to his two least favorite people. I politely greeted, Mr. Carter. Ethan squeezed my hand, relax. I've got this. Taking the plunge, I ushered the Carters into the living room. Dad dropped his watering can when he saw them. When I announced our relationship, he exploded. Ripping a wooden rod from the plant stand, he charged toward us like an enraged bull. I couldn't restrain him as he brandished the stick at Mr. Carter. First you stole my crush in college. Now my daughter? You're fucking with me on purpose. The tension peaked until Mom descended the staircase. Dad instantly shoved the weapon into my hands. Scampering to her side like a chastened puppy, honey, wire up. Mom ignored him, nodding politely at our guests. Was that you shouting? She asked. Dad pointed at me, our daughter did it. Me, typical. My whole life covering for Dad's theatrics. With Mom's presence defusing the situation, we finally sat down calmly. The former hothead now sat meekly beside his wife. The Johnson family's dynamic restored. Ethan explained the entire story of our relationship to my mother. He pulled out a contract and multiple property deeds from a black briefcase, Mrs. Johnson. I'm willing to transfer all Carter family assets and my personal real estate holdings to Alice. I love her deeply. Should I ever betray her, I'll be left with nothing. Please entrust her to me with peace of mind. I poked Ethan's arm. Are you insane? Giving me all your assets? I glanced at my mother, trying to signal that this was excessive. Mrs. Johnson smiled warmly. Since your feelings are genuine, we accept your property transfer. My eyes widened in shock. I'd expected refusal, not immediate acceptance. I turned to my father, who stood pitifully behind my mother. What are you looking at me for? He grumbled. When I married your mom, I handed over everything I owned too. She says money corrupts men. He muttered under his breath. Who'd believe the CEO of a company doesn't even have $10 in his pocket? Couldn't afford cigarettes, ended up quitting cold turkey. My mother shot him a look, making him cover his mouth hastily. Sorry, honey. I'll go kneel on the washboard myself. After both families finished discussions, Mr. Carter helped my dad up from the washboard. Relax, old friend. I've moved on from past grudges and love my wife now. Let's not let our generation's drama affect the kids. While walking Ethan and Mr. Carter out later, I whispered, I can't believe Dad agreed so easily. I expected World War III. Ethan chuckled, booping my nose. Your mother runs this household, not him. As scions of New York's two prominent families, we'd survived the gauntlet. Our parents-approved romance blossomed freely. 6 months later, we stood at the marriage license office wearing crisp white shirts. The photographer chuckled. Look at the camera. Lovebirds. Groom. Rein in that megawatt smile. And give the bride some breathing room, you're practically glued to her. Perfect. That's the shot. The camera clicked, freezing our joy in official documentation. Ethan cradled my hand, his gaze tender. I might be clumsy at love, but my devotion to you is absolute. The end.